Hey everybody, welcome to Lyrics to Go. I'm Daniel Maté. This is part 3 of my conversation with my friend and musical theater colleague, Gaby Alter. Now, the song we're going to be looking at today is by him, and it falls a little bit outside of his musical theater repertoire. It's from his folk pop EP, Yes Gabriel, which is also the name of his band. The song is called Dear to Me. It's very beautiful, and I recommend hearing the song in its entirety, either before or after you watch this episode. And you can do that one of two ways, or both. There's a link below to a lovely performance of his group playing it live in some New York studio, I think. And also I have a very intimate live on Lyrics to Go exclusive solo version of the song by Gaby that I'm putting out in a bonus episode for my Patreon subscribers. And also included in that episode will be his version of My First Year in New York, which we broke down last time in part 2. The way to see that bonus episode, as well as all the content I ever put out and ever will put out, is to become a Patreon subscriber by going to patreon.com/lyrics2go and signing up at the $5 level a month or above. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thanks for liking and sharing. Hope you will. Also, especially, please subscribe below and please enjoy the episode. So here you are liberated from the strictures of writing a theater song. You're writing a story song.
Yeah.
Which means that the verses carry us through, and so does the bridge. It's similar to a theater song, but you're not obliged in the chorus, I think, to vary things up as much. You're just driving home a single emotion, a single sentiment, which takes on more resonance as a result of the dramatic context. Yeah. Am I on the right track here in terms of your thinking? Or
absolutely, yeah.
The night I met you, we boarded a subway train. 20-minute ride to the place where you were staying. You leaned in close, your face next to mine. Your breath was warm, smelled like smoke and wine. Battery Park, a building made of glass. We rode up in the elevator so fast. I didn't realize how far you would take me. But a night has consequences you can't foresee. You will be always dear to me. You will be always dear. You will be always dear to me. You will be always dear.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, because what I realized, you exactly put it right. This is a story song. It's not a dramatic story song, because it's like a person telling you the whole story of a relationship in a compressed form. And yeah, when I wrote this though, so this was the thing about the song. I came up with the verse melody and the chorus hook, and the chorus, right, the lyric, "You will be always dear." I really like that. And I had this other version of it, and it was like, it started off, it was just a bunch of metaphors. It was like, I thought I was this, but then I was that, or, you were like an explosion. And I played it for a couple of people, and they were kind of like, this is pretty. They all thought it was pretty, but they, you could tell they weren't connecting with it.
That's very into a girls, finding a simile for everything. And I guess that's how you started, like a pinprick to my heart.
And I guess that's how you started, like a pinprick to my heart. You're dark and dangerous like a secret. When you kiss me like a lover, then you sting me like a viper. Lay your memory like the viper, and I feel it like the sickness.
Yeah, exactly. But they, they're pretty good at that.
In fact, they're so good at it that some friends of mine made a drinking game out of it on a recent lyrical live stream, which I do every Monday night. We listened to that exact song, Ghost, and every time Emily sings a simile or a metaphor, we took a swig. Needless to say, we ended up pickled like a pickle. They are.
Yeah. They are. But then, so I had a bunch of versions of it, but I could see it wasn't working. I played for my friend Ken Flagg, who's a great songwriter, and he was like, it's like, I like the version where you start with the train. Like I had that one verse about when I met you, we boarded a subway or train, 20-minute ride to the place where you were staying. But I didn't follow up on like telling the whole story. And he's like, that's really interesting to me. And I was like, oh, it's like the musical theater thing that I've been doing, which is where you tell a story and you have specific details, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which to me, really what works about that line, I think, is, you know, the night I met you, okay, so what happened? We boarded a subway train, which turns out to be, I guess, the metaphor for the relationship. And then 20-minute ride to the place where you were staying. To me, that's kind of interesting, right? Because it's like, it's a specific time amount. And it was really a little more than 20 minutes, but, you know, basically same difference.
There's also something very particular about rhyming train and a two-syllable word like stain, which said a certain way in a certain, with a certain attitude, with a certain mood, is a one-syllable word. It's like you can barely get it out. 20-minute ride to the place where you were staying. It's there's something extra poignant for me about the fact that that word becomes a rhyme with. It's actually, whoops. Right.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I allowed myself to not exact rhyme and to be a little less worried about that in this song, because I was like, well, this is not a theater song. And it allows you these kind of rhymes that, I mean, that people are doing in theater now too, but just that we were not taught at Tisch. But like, just it's pleasurable. It's like staying. Oh yes, and as you say, it's a one-syllable word when you say it. And now that I think about it, it's a really good beginning because there's all this stuff in the beginning, like a bunch of stuff I didn't really consciously do, but I'm looking at all these images of, there's sort of things that seem temporary in the beginning, right? Like she's staying at a place, like she's not even living there, and we're taking a subway, so it seems like it's going to be a one-night stand. But actually, it turned out to be like this incredibly impactful relationship that I didn't understand how far it was going to take me. Like, well, that's psychologically.
There's the unforeseen consequences, and
right.
And this is something interesting you do here, which is instead of having a pre-chorus, you have a consistent pre-chorus lyric, but it doesn't break out of the form of the verse. But every time, just letting us know before the chorus, we have a line about consequences you can't foresee. And that line means something slightly different each time.
That's right. Yeah, right, that's right.
Did you not notice that? Is this news to you?
Well, what's news to me is I didn't realize it functioned as like a pre-chorus or an on-ramp, but you're right. Like I
functions as a signal, a cue for the chorus almost, right?
That's right. That's what it is, yeah.
And an organizing principle. You know what this, I mean, songwriter wise, the one who comes to mind in terms of the principles of this song and the mood of it, and also the kind of story being told, would be early on into Franco.
I'm imagining your frame, every angle and every plane, and I'm imagining your smell, the one that mingled with mine once upon a time.
Cool. She's great. She's amazing.
She is great, and she'll write lines that are intimate like that about leaving a, the feathered earring on the bed and the shape of the head on the pillow and all that.
One night turned to 3, turned to 4. You left your feather earring on my floor. You left strands of your hair hidden in my bed, and on my pillow, shape of your head.
So the first time a night has consequences you can't foresee, in the context of the the first verse, it's pretty straightforward, right? Like, we didn't expect to have a relationship. We did. Second one, when I said goodbye, still I thought I was only passing through, a tourist taking pictures of the view. Do you know the Pink Mountaintops song, Tourist in Your Town?
No.
But you saw through all of my moves, my clever disguise, faulty heart rides. Oh, so now we don't talk, but that's quite alright. You were a tourist in my town.
Oh, they have
listen to it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice mid 2000s Vancouver based indie group.
Okay.
And that the notion of just being a tourist, I wasn't meant to stay here. And when I
Okay.
said goodbye, it felt like I was free, but the nights have consequences you can't foresee. So you saying goodbye to this person has consequences you can't foresee.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll just in this spirit of being completely honest, I mean, a lot of this, it was such a hard song to write, I think, because it was personal in this way and about this relationship that was very hard to process or took a long time. But so I asked my friend Ken. He was the one who got me on the direction about how, like, that it should be a story song. My other friend Sean McArdle, also a really great songwriter, he was the one who was like, why don't you change? He just gave me that idea. He just literally was like, why don't you change it every time? And then the last one is love.
Mm.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's really good. So I just take people's ideas. Like, if they're good suggestions, maybe that's part of my thing as being a collaborator with people who are lyricists. Like, I'm just like, great, I'll take it. So I can't claim credit for it, but yes, I can, because nobody knows.
You pulled it off.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think Sean was 100% right. And he's a really good songwriter, that it's like, it had to be graded like that. And then the last one, I just had it each time, I think, as love has consequences. It started with love, and he was just like, withhold that, right? It's like good songwriting practice.
Well, exactly. So he's like, he recognizes the value of the repeated line, consequences you can't foresee. He also sees the value of varying it up.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
consequences are everywhere. Everything has consequences you can't foresee. That's what a consequence is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, yeah, right. So, and that was the line from the old song to the older version. It was like, love has consequences you can't foresee. And then there were some other things. It was always, it's like, I thought our love was this, but it was this. I thought our love was a roller coaster ride. We'd have some fun. We'd get out on the other side. That was the original line. So you can see why the other one's better. It's like kind of a tired metaphor.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I thought our love was a bumper car where, there's a big collision, but we're still stuck where we are.
That's pretty good.
Then I thought our love
right.
was
like a 2-seater, like, yeah.
was a hobbling mule.
We'd put him out of his misery, but that would be cruel. Sorry. See, we can write lyrics together, Daniel. This is fun. We're gonna get some good songs about mules.
All the things I thought our love was like, by Gaby Alter and Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel Maté. Yeah. But so anyway, but yeah, this song and the second verse of the song was just pulling teeth. Oh my God. I was like, I think because the song was so personal, and, in a way it's like you are trying to write the song to the person, because you are like, that's who is in the song with you, is the person you're addressing. So I don't know. It took me a long time to figure out like what I should talk about in the second verse.
Second verse might be my favorite of the three.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One night turned to 3, turned to 4. Why is that?
Because all of a sudden the pace picks up. Like all of a sudden it's montage. We're not talking about one night. We're not talking about one outcome later. We see the, I don't know how long this relationship was. Years?
No.
Okay. Months?
It was actually, it was about 8 or 9 months. Yeah. So.
Okay. Right. So that's kind of my upper limit for most relationships, historically speaking.
Right.
I'm at the 11-month mark now with mine. So,
oh, right.
Boom. Thanks, dude. Yeah. But yeah, one night turned to 3, turned to 4. You left your feather earring on my floor. You start listing things left, things, don't like, mingling and all that. And then in the back half of the verse, and yet here's what was going on in my mind the whole time. I thought I was only passing through, a tourist taking pictures of the view. That's amazing. And when I said goodbye, it felt like I was free, but the nights have consequences you can't foresee. The return of that line, the second time, it's more impactful. Yeah, I love the second verse. So I think you nailed that second verse challenge, which is always so hard.
Yes, totally hard. And like for a while that verse was longer. I think it was all about, because what you said just now about the compression was like, that was the answer, but it took me a long time to get there. Compression. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, That is how the mind moves, actually. I think there's something psychologically true to life about that. When I think of my relationships,
Yeah.
my past relationships, there's the initial meeting, then there's
Mhm.
a whole span of time in which a lot of things
Right.
happened.
Right.
And then there's the end and the aftermath of the end.
Yes, exactly. And then, yeah. And then the other thing I do have to say, I'm proud of the bridge of this song. I think just because musically it's some like combination of I really like it musically, and on the recording, there's a lot of harmony, which I get to do.
Days got slow, and rain goes pouring down, down. Some days I know I let you go. Some days I don't.
And the chord changes are kind of subtle in a cool way, like they don't repeat themselves. But also the sentiment is like, I don't know how other people take it, but some days the rain go, I don't know, it just like, it's me just going right into pop music and not like being specific.
Do you hate it when I bring in comparisons to songs that it reminds me of?
No, it's fine. I mean,
So do you know the late era Dylan song Most of the Time?
Who is it?
Bob Dylan.
Oh, Bob Dylan. Most of the time. No, I don't think I do. I mean, it's amazing to get paired to Bob Dylan.
Yeah. Let me read it to you.
Ever, for any reason.
Let me read it to you. It's great.
Thanks.
It's from 1989. Daniel Maté produced it.
Cool.
Most of the time, I'm clear focused all around. Most of the time, I can keep both feet on the ground. I can follow the path. I can read the signs, stay right with it while the road unwinds. I can handle whatever I stumble upon. I don't even notice she's gone most of the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally. Oof. Right. It's like some days are fine and some days are not.
Right. And the way you set it up, some days I remember why I let go. Some days I don't. That's not an even weight. It's not like, well, 50% of the time and it's all good. It's more like, the pride of place, you get that uneven, you really get the picture of what the balance of the emotion is like. Or even if it is even, one emotion is much.
Yeah. No, and at the time I wrote it, obviously it was much more weighted in one direction.
Right. So it's an understatement.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, cool. So
it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. And it's nice to see the subtle difference between what you do in the theater context and out of it. It's not that different, but there are important differences.
Right. Yeah. And it's cool to think through them with you, because it's like, I totally, in that song anyway, I do a lot of like, and on my album in general, I use a lot of the like specific imagery stuff, which is what I learned writing from write from your own experience and then specific imagery. And I did pull a bunch of the imagery, I think just from my, like the feather earring, I think was real. I like using real stuff. I mean, I think it sort of keeps me feeling like things are true in the song. I don't know. It's
very evocative. I can see it,
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. And then
it's not like, you left an assortment of items on my floor.
Yeah. That wouldn't be very interesting.
No, be specific, right? Sondheim's rules do apply, right? Like God is in the details, content dictates form, which I think we've seen in your stuff, and less is more.
Yeah. That's right.